You're listening to the Clutter Fairy Weekly, a weekly webcast and podcast brought to you by the Clutter Fairy in Houston, Texas. If you'd like to participate in one of our live webcasts, please visit cfhou.com/weekly. You'll find a calendar of upcoming webcasts, as well as instructions for joining the Zoom meeting via the app or by phone. We'd love to see you. That URL again is cfhou.com/weekly. Now here's the weekly episode. Enjoy.
Hi, Clutter Fairy fans. This is the Clutter Fairy Weekly for January 6th, 2026. Happy New Year. I'm your co-host, Ed Gumnick, and I'm speaking with Gayle Goddard, certified professional organizer and owner of the Clutter Fairy in Houston, Texas.
Hi, everybody. The Clutter Fairy Weekly is the webcast and podcast that digs deep into the clutter that piles up between you and the life that you want to be living. We explore the habits and behaviors that lead to clutter, and we suggest strategies to slow the accumulation, reduce the collection, and comfortably manage the stuff we decide to keep.
If you're new to our Zoom meeting, we want to let you know that you can share your questions and comments via the chat feature, and I'll try to make sure Gayle addresses them before we move on to another topic. You can also use the raise hand feature if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment yourself via audio or video. And we are streaming the webcast live on Facebook. So you can also share your questions and comments there, and I'll relay them to Gayle. We're going to start by talking about our last weekly tittle from 3 weeks ago today.
Gosh, can you believe that?
I know, right? Which was called Out with the Old. The assignment was to release something from your life that you didn't want to carry with you into the new year. Let's hear from our participants in Zoom and on Facebook who said goodnight and thank you to something or someone from your life in recent weeks. Please let us know in the comments. I didn't find any tittle responses. I think our audience must have been busy with something else over the last 3 weeks.
They went on holiday.
I can hardly imagine. So I think people were too busy to try the tittle or at least to report back to us about it. But here's a survey response from Kathy that met the spirit, at least, of our end of the year tittle.
Absolutely.
Kathy writes, I donated my wedding dress, shoes, and purse. It was 33 years old and I'd never wear it, even if it fit, which it didn't, but it was still an emotional hurdle. I tried it on, looked in the mirror, remembered all the feelings of my wedding day, and then packaged it up to donate. After that, it was so easy to empty the rest of the second closet of my extra clothes and let them go too.
How fabulous. Kathy, that is really fabulous. That clearly was a huge emotional hurdle you had to climb over. A wedding dress is the ultimate keepsake piece of clothing because of the expensive cost, because of the once-in-a-lifetime occasion, because of the intense emotions that are associated with it. We often save wedding dresses to pass down to a younger family member. That's really how emotionally laden they are for us. I'm proud that you tried on the dress, explored the memories of your wedding, and then released it. Now someone who can't buy a super expensive dress will be able to thrift yours and have a dream day too. And then once you release the dress, that was the most important keepsake that you own, the biggest, most valuable one emotionally. Then getting rid of the rest of the stuff in the closet was a piece of cake after that. And good for you. You open the dam and let everything flow on out of your closet. You weren't suddenly not married after that. It didn't take the experience of your life away from you. You just released the dress to benefit someone else and cleared out the closet. And that's a perfect example of releasing something at the end of the year so you didn't take it forward into the new year. Thanks so much for sharing that story. It was a great example. Loved it.
We got some reports coming in from our live audience. Jane says,
Okay.
I released 2025 catalogs and other mailings. It was time to recycle 2025 and start fresh for 2026.
Yay, catalogs. Whoosh. Love that. Gotta love that.
May says, I undecorated Christmas the day after Christmas.
Ooh, that was busy and fast. Good for you.
I bet a lot of people have gotten into that already.
Right?
Some of the traditionalists may be doing it, after today. And some of the what do you call the people who are who traditionally like to keep their stuff up till, deep into the spring?
Well, they're the ones that are in love with Christmas.
M says, my very practical grandmother used her wedding dress to make underwear.
Wow, really?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Okay. If well, kudos to somebody that can sew underwear. Like that
Yeah,
seems like a
that's
big construction problem. Like that must have been a big challenge. She must have been very talented. All
um
right.
Lisa Beth says, I went through things that belong to a son that lives 12 hours away. He was here for over a week, and we put some things in his vehicle, some in cold storage and attic, and got them out of prime real estate to make a spot for a craft area and toy room.
I That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. You took that space and said, "You are a grown man and you live elsewhere. Can I please have my room back?" I am super proud of you. I want you to get in there and craft like a crazy person and have so much fun.
Wow,
That's awesome.
Ginger has a big one to report.
Mm.
Sold our lake house,
Oh, that is a big one. Oh
s-
my gosh.
saving $6,500 a year.
Right. You sold that lake house and the property taxes that went with it. That's exactly right.
Uh,
Good job.
and she said, last week went through everything there, gave away tons of items, came home with very few items. Some of those will be given away here.
That's so good. Oh my gosh. That's a big one. Shedding yourself of a piece of property before the new year. Great job.
Here's another great one. M says, I dumped 40 gigabytes from my main computer.
Oh, darn, that's a lot.
That is a lot of material. Yeah, that's
Right? Man, you must have been making crazy number of decisions to do that.
May says that the word for people who keep their Christmas decorations up until March is procrastinators.
That too. I think it Christmas in particular is such a huge effort if you go about it in a big way. It takes so much time to put it up and oh God, it's going to take forever to take it down. And I think a lot of us are like, I can't face that. I only put it up 3 weeks ago, or I can't face that chore yet. And
Yeah,
so they have to stall it for a little while. That's okay. It's not hurting anything. As long as you don't have a super dry Christmas tree that's about to catch on fire. That's the only thing I
right.
worry about.
At the very least, get that Christmas tree out of there if it's a live tree.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I think we should get on because we have so much to talk
Oh
about
my
today.
God, we do.
What did you learn about yourself and your stuff through your decluttering efforts in 2025? What lessons will you take forward into your organizing work in this new year? Today, Gayle is going to guide us through a decluttering and organizing review of 2025 and suggest ways for our audience to continue their growth, learning, and success in 26. Um, I want to say, before Gayle gets started, I want to say how grateful we are to all of you who participate in our surveys. The audience surveys are just an invaluable
Super
resource
rich.
for us for material to talk about and to make sure that what we're talking about with you remains relevant.
Mm.
Um, and I really want to encourage you to read one another's survey responses. Our audience members put a ton of thought and care into the responses, and sometimes they tell stories. Like we'll ask 4 or 5 questions, and in the course of the responses, people will tell very complex stories about the issues they're dealing with.
Yeah,
And
something's going on.
that stuff is hard for us to share on the air. So that's why I encourage you to go check out each other's responses. The survey for this show, you can find the responses at cfhou.com/results288. That's the pattern for where the results posts are. There's also a place at the bottom of each individual response where you can leave a comment. So if you click through to read people's individual responses, there's a comment form at the bottom of that if you want to tell somebody you really liked what they had to say. So let's go on, Gayle.
Okay. So there's nothing special about choosing this particular moment to look at our wins and losses for the year and what we've learned and what we plan to use again in the future. We're just culturally wired to do this at the end of the calendar year, so that's what we're doing. Many of you got into the survey and told us all about your year and your plans for 2026. And since organizing can seem so overwhelming and not fun, it's good to stop and focus on what worked and remind yourself the successes that you had. Anything that helps your motivation, of course. So, besides, we're super proud of you. We want you to have the chance to be cheered on. So, let's do it. We're diving into your survey responses right now.
The first question we asked our audience was, what did you learn about yourself or your stuff through your decluttering and organizing process in 2025. We're going to share and discuss some of your answers. Amanda says, I learned that I should have done it before my son was born, and I learned that I'd better get on it before our second baby arrives in July.
Hmm.
I also found that having a focused goal for the space helped me make faster and more complete decisions. So I'm taking some time now to envision better uses for specific areas of my basement than storing dusty 100-year-old books and enough Christmas ornaments to decorate 3 or 4 trees.
That's a really useful insight, and better to do the work before you have infants to take care of. It's the mother's version of do it before you can't do it. So, and I think mothers, pregnant women always think that they're going to be able to do more at the end of their pregnancy than they can actually do. So they don't get started right away when they find out they're pregnant, and then they wait, and then they're 7 months pregnant, and they're like, I feel like I'm going to die from the weight and the pain and suffering, and then you can't do anything because you feel physically so impaired at the moment. So do it now. Do it now. That's the goal. That's the lesson to learn from that. And I think, this idea of, let me find it where she said it.
She said, I also found that
The
having a
folk, yeah.
focused goal for the space helped me make faster and more complete decisions.
I absolutely think that's true. That if
Yeah,
you don't know what you're going to do with the room or the purpose of the room you want it to be, then you don't have any parameters around which to help you make decisions. And so she noticed that I want the space to be this XYZ, and therefore that becomes part of the parameters. Does the thing in the room need to be there to support this XYZ purpose or not? And it gives her another set of filters to filter through the stuff that's in the room. And so she made faster decisions and they were more complete, and she felt more comfortable about them because she was deciding this in this room does not support the purpose of this room or what I envision in this room, and therefore it's easier for me to decide to let it go. I think people look at their possessions in isolation. Is this a good thing? Can I use it?
right.
And they don't associate it with where it's going to be and how it's going to be, how the room is going to be purposed. And so they miss all those extra filters that come naturally from, I have a vision and does this support the vision or not? And so Amanda figured that out and went with it. And that's awesome. Good for you,
Yeah,
Amanda.
that sentence is so great. I just want to, save it as a mantra. Having
Right?
having a focused goal for the space helps me make faster and more complete
More
decisions.
complete. Yeah,
So
that's
good.
important.
Okay, let's go on. Lynn says she learned that it is time to let go of the last few remaining items of my mom's that have been emotionally blocking the completion of my whole house decluttering project.
Mm.
Next year will be 10 years since her passing, and I procrastinated long enough with getting rid of stuff that hasn't been touched in those 10 years. Time to rip the Band-Aid off and move on with life.
I know how hard that is, deciding to let go things that came from your parents. But you're right that 10 years is long enough time for you to use the stuff or release it. I'm glad that you've gotten there and you're ready to release the last things. It'll close this project of dealing with her things, and then you'll never stop loving and remembering her even though you've finished giving away her stuff. So finishing this project doesn't ever change that, but it allows you to be complete in your mind about handling her estate, about making decisions and incorporating her stuff into your life, and not just having them be a whispered unfinished project in the back of your mind. And so I think you're going to get a great sense of relief from this. And it took however long it took, it doesn't matter. But if you're at the place emotionally where you're comfortable letting go, then that's fabulous. And we're super proud of you. And come and tell us what it was like after you did it. We'd love to hear some more about it.
Let's see. Nancy says, I learned I hold on to too much stuff for what if scenarios, even though I don't reuse the stuff.
Mm.
I learned I shop too much impulsively and then don't like the thing shortly after buying it. I learned I can give away things and not fall apart. I learned people are happy to get what I no longer need. I learned I need more than one type of decluttering plan. I learned I need positive reinforcement to stay on task.
That is a fabulous list of things that you learn, Nancy.
And
That's great.
Nancy had great responses across the board. Nancy,
Yeah, she was in the zone, right?
yeah, yes.
So great list of things that you learn, and you learn about your shopping behavior, your stories about holding on to things, plus the positive benefits of releasing things and what you need to support yourself to stay at it. I'd say you are poised to make big strides on your project in 2026, and those are very useful insights that you have, captured and gotten to become aware of. They're just going to help you so much this year. I'm so proud.
Well, and the one bit that stood out to me was she said, I learned I need more than one type of decluttering plan.
Yes, yes.
And that comes up again in some of the responses we're going to get to. So we'll talk about that some more. Um,
Okay.
the Mags says, I learned that by taking the time to honor or realize how the individual items played a role at the time, it has been easier for me to let them go. Example, I kept a box of pamphlets for our travels 20 years ago. I thought that I could not part with the box, but I sat down and looked at each booklet or pamphlet and saw they were from 2001 and 2002. I looked through each of them and was able to let them go. I felt that they had served their purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, travel is one of those things where you go, you have this fabulous experience, and as you're signing up for things and buying tickets and researching places you want to go view, and you have all these experiences, and the pamphlets and the flyers and the paper are all that you get to bring home from the experience. And so somehow in the moment, it feels like you need to have that paperwork to help you remember the trip.
Right,
But and some people tell me I want to go back there someday. Like, yeah, yeah, and you're going to do research again when
right.
you go the next time. But people they keep it and they feel partially like it's going to support their next trip. Okay. And
Yeah,
it comes home and then, 20 years go by and she was able to look at the pamphlets and go, yeah, I had those experiences and it was great and we had so much fun and that was in 2002 and now it's 2026. And, if I go on another trip, these pamphlets aren't really going to help me. And it didn't change the fact that I remember our travels fondly and had a lovely time. And she felt they had served her purpose and she was able to let them go. And I think that's awesome because if you have a box of pamphlets from 2002, when somebody's clearing out their house behind you, you know, after you're gone, they're going to be like, oh my God, why did you keep all these pamphlets? And so you can do that and have your memories and have your experience of that wonderful travel trip, and the pamphlets can go on to recycling. And good for you. That was a good project. You are muted, sir. You're talking away over there madly, but there's no sound coming out.
sorry about that. Sandra says, I learned that amazingly, I could declutter one item a day in 2025. I have a list in my notes app. The year is not over yet, and some items I don't even remember.
How amazing is that, right? So 365 things went out of the house, and I bet you don't even feel deprived or like you don't have enough. So good on you. And that is 365 things that you aren't even thinking about anymore, and they're not taking up space. So gotta love it. Proud of you.
Um, she did say, in response to another question later, that her husband was responsible for about five of those 365 items. So
That's okay.
big thumbs up to Sandra's husband for his contribution.
For showing up with five, right?
Anonymous respondent said, I'm okay with most categories except craft supplies,
Mm,
but teaching has helped tremendously as I have students who want my things, and I'm more than happy to pass them on, sometimes offering anecdotes.
mm.
And she said sometimes that this has led to teaching workshops with the materials. She goes on to say there were actually some very expensive clothes that I did not want to wear even after I lost weight and fit into them.
Oh, that's a good revelation, isn't it?
And then she also added, my mother has organized her extra things into a space for a sale, and this has lifted a huge weight I was feeling, even though the things are not mine, save maybe 3 items.
I love that you realized that you didn't want to wear the nice clothes that you had saved, even after you lost weight and could actually wear them. That's a great thing to figure out and go, yeah,
Yeah.
so I can put them on now, but never mind. And
Yeah.
you can release them. That was great. It's very cool that as a teacher, you can share things with your students. That's really a built-in pool of possible donor recipients. So good on you. Lucky you. Not everybody has that option. And your mom organizing and selling her own stuff now means she's decluttering her stuff before you have to do it when she's gone. And she's giving you a really great gift. She's removing a big project burden from your shoulders. So proud of both of you guys for doing that. That's wonderful. Those are great reports. Thank you.
Kathy said, I learned that even though I decluttered my home, I am still a clutterer by nature.
Mm.
I must continue to work at decluttering by keeping like things together so I know my inventory and by practicing the one in, one out rule.
You're so right. You have to continue maintenance mode once you get your project done to keep the gains that you've made. Luckily, maintenance is a huge improvement. It's a lot less work. It's much easier to do. And so if you get to the end and then you start doing maintenance mode, which means that you're still doing decluttering, but you're doing, much smaller projects, much easier project. It's not hard to recoup after you've done the great declutter of, my whole house. So good job. And, of course, we all have our same, we are the same person we were when we started on some level, the organizing project. You may have learned some new skills and you've gotten some more coping mechanisms around it. You still have to work with who you are. And so now you just get to slide into maintenance mode and stay on top of it that way.
Okay, I want to share a couple comments from the room about things people learned. M says, in 2025, I learned that my most masterful organizing and storage solution will fail if, one, it doesn't work when I'm in a hurry or sick,
Mm,
or two, putting things away again isn't almost as easy as just dropping it anywhere.
yes, that is exactly right. So good. That was an excellent realization. And the idea that, you know, it needs to be easy to put away. 100%. And so any kind of system that's too complicated where you have to stop and undo some stuff to put something back, like anything like that means that you haven't decluttered enough and the system isn't smooth enough because no one likes to work at it. They don't want their maintenance to be something that they have to like struggle through, right? So if your system is too complicated, if your storage is too full, if the process of putting away is too annoying, it ain't gonna happen. So you gotta smooth that out for yourself 100%. Good thing to figure out.
Okay, a couple more quick ones. Ginger gave a more complete report than this, but I just want to share one bit.
Mm,
I also know I'm too hard on myself.
mm.
I got some things done, just not the projects I wanted to finish.
Yeah, but it all has to get done, right? So if you got something done, that means those things are done, and that doesn't make them any less worthy. It just means you went off script for a little while, but that doesn't matter. You can change the script, right? So you accomplished what you accomplished this year. It doesn't matter that it doesn't match your original plan. Who cares? And in the meantime, you have some things done, and you have things that left to do, and now you move on to things that are left to do. Go team, go! Don't be stressing, Ginger. That's okay.
Okay, our second survey question for our viewers and listeners was, what new decluttering and organizing ideas, methods, or techniques proved helpful in 2025? Were there any game changers?
Mm,
Denise said, and several people gave Dana White credit. Our Dana White show was extremely popular,
mm.
uh, and the book, of course, that we read. Denise says Dana K. White's Take It There Now was a big help, not just for a decluttering session, but just daily maintenance. It's so easy to procrastinate. I'll put it away later. I've had so much encouragement from you and your listeners. Good ideas abound and have helped me incorporate little changes in my days, which make a big difference.
Picking it up and then saying, I'll put it up later, just because, putting it away is hard. And putting it back down just tells me you're having a brain overwhelm and you don't know what to do with the item. That's when I tell my client, no, we need to handle this right now. And I start asking questions about it to find out what the issues are with it. I actually do this with clients a lot, especially when I find my clients picking up things one at a time and holding it while they pick up another and another. I've watched clients pick up 5, 6, 7 things in their arms all while still looking in the box at other stuff. What can you do with your hands completely full of unrelated items? So I stop the client and say, let's focus on what's in your hands right now. You can't hold everything at once. We need to put up what's in your hands before we go back to the box. And so this idea of take whatever you have there now. You don't have to be super efficient about, you don't have to make your hands full of 10 things before you start going putting things away. You can just pick that one thing that you know what it is, you know where it goes, take it there now, and then it's off the list. And it is not going to slow you down another time. And so, yeah, that take it there now is a way to stop brain malfunction and overwhelm. It's like I can't figure out what to do with all this stuff. Well, you're not doing all this stuff. You're doing that one thing and you're taking it where it needs to go. And that is the smallest amount of accomplishment you can get in one trip, and it is a completed loop when you get it done, and you can go back to where you were and pick up another thing and do it again. It doesn't matter that it seems like it's not the most effective. It is the most effective because you actually do it and the stuff
It's the
actually
one
gets
you
put
do.
away, right?
Yes.
So you got to roll with that.
Um,
Absolutely.
okay, letter L, had a very long response. I'm going to quote just some bits. You mentioned the container method of Dana K. White,
Mm.
um, keeping a representative sample from Gail and Ed, Swedish death cleaning, asking myself if anyone would care to inherit my items. And then she says, and another thing I've done for the past 3 years, I learned from Vera on Simple Happy Zen. That's a news source to us. I haven't heard that one
Yeah, yeah.
before.
We'll have to look that one up.
Vera, Simple Happy Zen. She counts the things she buys, not counting consumables, and the things she declutters during the year. This keeps me on track of what's coming into the house and what's going out.
Ooh,
This year, my ratio was 6 out, 1 in. And
that's
she
awesome.
goes on to say, so many good podcasts and techniques out there. I like the different points of view and ideas from different people.
There is definitely support of all kinds from all kinds of sources. And I'm really glad you're sourcing ideas everywhere. And we appreciate that you include us in that sourcing. I love the idea of, sort of keeping score of what's going. We've talked about making a list of what's going out just so you have a reminder that you can look back and say, not just I have blank spaces, but see, I've took 365 things out, right? So she's tracking the count of things that she's taking out and the count of things she's bringing in to make sure the ratio is a net loss, which I love that idea. That's a modification of our counting list that I really like. So thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Uh, Fernando says, having fun is imperative. Taking my time, doing what I can, keeping the end goal in mind.
Mm,
Remembering I'm doing this for myself and those who won't have to deal with my things.
exactly.
Realizing I'm way ahead of the game compared to so many when I hear what they're dealing with. Started Swedish death cleaning a couple of years ago when I was 62. Now at 64, I'm just tweaking the details. I intend to be done by the end of 2026.
What a great goal. Being done by the end of 2026 is such a great goal, especially if you're just tweaking the details now. Then you can switch to maintenance mode and keep it how you got it. And it's great that you're cheering yourself for being so ahead of the game. That is excellent encouragement. Super proud of Fernando, our standout, guy responder today. Thank you. He's making good headway, it sounds like, 2 years in.
Well, and I think, what did he say about, let's see, my favorite, I'm trying to remember, my favorite part here was, may have been another part of his answer. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
Let's go on to Maxaby, who said, I'm a diehard follower of Dana K. White's no mess decluttering method,
Mm.
but listening to the Clutter Fairy on YouTube over the past few months has challenged me to think beyond just decluttering. My age, goals, and mindset are all food for thought now.
That's exciting to hear. Those sound like positive things to focus on beyond decluttering. And thanks for joining us recently. I really appreciate that. I think, thinking about the goals of what you want to be able to do in your house and how you want to support your life, it's a great thing to think about and consciously make choices about what will make your life and your experience better. And how good of you to figure that out. Thank you for joining us.
Well, and also She says my age, goals, and mindset are all food for thought.
Mm,
Now,
hmm
age is really important because if if you've been trying to declutter since you were 40 and now you're 70, you're not going to be able to do the same kind of projects at the same kind of
hmm
pace.
Exactly.
And mindset as well. We've spent a lot of time encouraging people to think about how they think about their stuff.
Hmm
Um,
And to not be judging themselves, but to try to be supporting themselves instead. Like that, I think
right.
that's a big mindset shift that we really focus on here because it's so easy and so many people get such negative feedback from the people around them and they internalize that negative feedback and give it to themselves. And so, we are definitely here to remind you that is not the best way to success. And we can be our own cheerleaders, and that's why we're here today. That's totally what we're talking about. We're trying to support you about what worked and what you learned, and to be proud of you for that. We're really, we're happy to do that for you. Thank you.
Rose says, I live with others who do not organize the way that I do.
Mm,
This has led to disagreements about shared spaces. Later, I realized that storing communal items on open shelving, clear containers, and wide bins makes it easier for my family to participate in my organizing efforts.
okay.
Also, labels have helped me with opaque containers I use to store items only I handle, and labels have helped me with containers that have lots of small items like cords and chargers.
Now that really sounds like some adaptive organizing. You're compromising and revising your technique so that it suits you and the rest of your household both. That's great. And that means you get participation of others in the house, meaning you're not the only one doing everything. So good job on that one. Like that is worth the compromising. Like maybe it wouldn't be exactly how you would like to do it if you lived alone, but if you're doing it in a way that you're okay with it and comfortable with it, and that means that the rest of the family can help you, that's the bomb. That's the goal. That's,
Yeah, that
you are the envy of all your peers right now. So be
yeah,
proud.
yeah. And that it really is great that she's come up with methods that are meeting her family where they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
they're 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 methods that work for them. Where
Yeah. And what their skills and
where
what their capacities
you
are.
know a more complicated and uh Byzantine system that only she understands, it's hard to get their participation. So,
100%.
yeah. All right, our third question on the survey this time was, what did you accomplish in 2025 for which you'd like to pat yourself on the back and enjoy the acknowledgments of the Clutter Fairy community? Um, some of these I'll just read without comment because I want to just, we'll all just kind of quietly clap.
Okay.
Kim says completed a move across country in just under 3 years. The last of our boxes arrived last week. We'll spend our time over the holidays purging old photographs and crying ugly tears while doing so.
That's a good project for the end of the year.
Lynn says I enjoyed more road trips, paying off my car loan a year early, and being debt free again. Getting dental work completed and new dentures, replaced the last of ancient kitchen appliances, and started the process of hiring a contractor to replace the 28-year-old roof this
Ooh,
year
that's
before it
definitely
starts
time.
leaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she did all this with cash, no loans or credit
Ooh,
cards, by sticking to a tight budget and saving as much as possible.
good job.
Let's see. Amanda sold 1.5 full Rubbermaid bins worth of Hallmark ornaments on eBay.
Oh,
It was a lot of work, but that stuff is gone for good, and I have some cash in my pocket, she says.
congrats. It is a lot of work, but if you're willing to do it, you get the reward.
Selena says, I've decided I cannot realize all my crafty ambitions, but there's nothing wrong about it. By decluttering some crafts, I'll feel less emotional burden and more motivation to take up again some other crafts, sewing and beadwork on dolly designs, as well as drawing and sketching.
I love that. I love that. There's nothing wrong with not being able to realize all the crafty ideas you have. Your creative mind is just especially fertile. So cool that you see the impact of lessening the burden and how that will give you more mental space to create. I think that is a problem of Selena. Hi, Selena. She is describing a problem of all super creative people They always have way more ideas than they have time, bandwidth, resources to realize. And so, accepting that all of your fabulous ideas, some of them are just going to stay ideas, they're not going to become projects that get completed. And knowing that about yourself and knowing that your well is not ever going to run dry. If you give up some of your great ideas, it won't stop you from having more great ideas in the future. So it's not going to be a problem. And she's recognizing that that room not being in good shape is preventing her from doing what she actively wants to do, and brings her joy. And so I'm super proud of you that you figured that out, and you're going to let some stuff go and then get back in there and start doing things you love, because I know you're a talented artist.
Nancy says, I totally went through my whole house and mostly I decluttered my heinous basement. That was miraculous. Your videos were very much an integral part of my being able to do it.
Yay.
I need to eliminate more down there, but it's so much better than it was.
Congratulations, Nancy. That's awesome. There are a lot of basements around the world just begging to be cleared out. And if you decluttered a heinous basement, you're ahead of most of the universe. So no worries that you need another pass. That's true of any dense space. You need multiple passes to make all the decisions contained in a dense space. But you win the I cleared my basement prize in the Clutter Fairy community. Good job.
Ria says, got rid of 2 small tables and bookcase by gifting them to my massage therapist who mentioned a need. I was going to try and sell them, but finding a person who would take them now was more satisfying.
Mm.
I've also made about 6 runs to the senior center with books to leave on the free table. If I know I'm headed nearby and have a few things, I poke around for some other books I know I won't get to.
2 things here. You experienced gifting away now versus working to sell stuff, and found that the giving away was easier and, more rewarding.
And more satisfying.
More
Yeah.
satisfying, right? You also made a habit of recurring drop-offs to the senior center. So multiple trips with light loads will certainly clear out things from your house. And none of those trips will be too hard on you because you're doing it more often with not as, with small batches. So that's a great new habit that you've cultivated. And if you keep it up, you will be amazed after a few months how much stuff is out of your house. So good job on that.
Let's see. I'm going to jump ahead a little here. Let's see. Uh, oh, Fernando again. Fernando says, my closet has only clothes and shoes that I wear. I have space for 12 pairs of shoes, so I own 12 pairs. I'm down to 2 sets of sheets, 4 body towels, and 4 hand towels. There's 0 clutter on my nightstands. I don't even have a lamp on them now that I've hung 2 sconces. So only a book, a small box with my automatic bed remote, and a Google Hub to voice activate the AC and lights.
That sounds awesome. And I have to say, Fernando, your only clothes and shoes that you wear, you are the envy of every woman in this room right now. We all wish that that all of the clothes in our closet were things that we could wear, and we know that they're not. So good for you for clearing it out to that. And I really like it's the idea that he has 2 sheets and 4 towels. Like, that's enough for one person to be using a clean towel and having the other towels going through the laundry process. And like, he's never without. He has exactly what he needs to make it work. And he doesn't have a huge linen burden in a linen closet somewhere. So, he's proving by example how it could be. So good job for you. Thank you.
Let's finish with Gabriella, who says, by staying extremely patient and only occasionally gently reminding my partner of how getting rid of unnecessary and or unloved items would make our apartment in Morocco so much more functional and enjoyable, a miracle happened. He began to declutter his stuff step by step on his own. A few days ago, he told me that his long-term goal is to be well prepared for our downsizing at some point in the future.
That is fabulous. You helped give him a goal he can envision, one that impacts his future directly. You made that future living space a place in his mind and got him started decluttering. That's a great win. And if he now is thinking about it, like, he has the goal that he wants to be well prepared for the downsizing. And so he's starting now and starting to work on it. And that's how slow and steady wins the race and means that you're not overwhelmed and miserable and physically hurt at the end. And so he's starting now, and how great that you steered him on that path. I'm super impressed by that. That's wonderful. Nice that
Yeah,
you did it gently, and then he just took it up on his own. So there you go.
well done.
Another example of having a envisioned goal of the room that you want to have. Like now you're thinking about the Moroccan apartment that you're going to live in, and that is a concrete space in his head that he can focus on and filter against. And I love that.
Well, they've got that they have the apartment already, but it's a
Mm,
matter of, getting
yeah, and moving there, right?
no,
Someday.
I think they go back and forth.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Mhm. Okay. Finally, we asked our audience, how do you plan to apply what you learned in 2025 to your 2026 projects? What new decluttering or organizing projects would you like to take on next?
Mm.
Bonnie says, I plan to schedule regular appointments with myself to tackle clutter and other ones to maintain regular cleaning chores.
At the beginning of the year is the perfect time to start those scheduling appointments to get you in motion. And I think the idea that you have recurring appointments, you do this kind of cleaning chore on this day at this time, you do this organizing, you have this slot to do organizing, and it's basically the same time and day every week. It's just like that we do this show every day, every Tuesday. Ed and I know exactly what we're doing on Tuesday. We have our morning from 10 till 1 is all planned out. We know what we're going to be doing. So whenever I'm trying to schedule something else, I'm like, nope, can't do it on Tuesdays. Tuesday's out. So you can set those times and appointments, and sure, there are times when it won't work. But if you have it be a recurring appointment and you actually work on it during that time, you will make slow and steady progress on stuff, and you'll get used to the habit of I'm gonna, do a show on Tuesday. I'm gonna declutter on Wednesday afternoon, whatever your slot is, and it'll become second nature. It'll become a habit, and you will then be amazed at how much project you make. And you'll look back a few months later and go, wow, I got all the way through that room. I couldn't imagine it at the beginning of the year. And now you have something done. So doing a schedule is a great idea.
Yvonne says, I plan on doing a no buy challenge for the next three
Mm.
months. No non-essential purchases will be made. It's time to admit to myself that I have everything I need.
Yvonne, that's great. You have a plan and you set a time limit. You're going to do it for 3 months. And I think that, that's going to be a really educational experience for you. Good luck on that. And I think you'll be surprised how easy it will actually be. I mean, you may miss the going shopping part. Like you may miss that you're not having fun that way, but then it challenges you to have fun another way. And in the meantime, you're using up what you have, and you're only buying, I'm buying, clearly you have to buy food, you have to buy cleaning supplies, whatever you need to do to function in the house. And so I think you're going to be amazed that you are completely covered and you're not missing anything, basically.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
come back and tell us at the end of 3 months how it went and what kind of results you had and what it felt like as you did it. Love to hear how it changes for you.
I want to go to Nancy next. Nancy said, I want to bring forward my successes because they give me confidence that I can do more.
Mm-hmm.
My new projects are to go deeper in eliminating unnecessary items. I think I'll start with my clothes room. It's my adult daughter's old bedroom. They all have their own homes now, so I turned a bedroom into a closet, makeup area, travel accessories, storage room, etc. It's very organized now, but I have too much that I don't need. Everything's clean, no damage, organized perfectly, etc. So that's not the problem. I just need to thin the herd.
Exactly. And, I think some people start a decluttering, organizing project thinking that what they really need is to just organize it better. And then they get it all organized like Nancy's described, like it's all clean and it's all organized how she wants.
And it's still
But
too
and
much.
it's still too much, right? And so it really they skip the decluttering part thinking that getting it all organized will make it feel better. It's like, well, it does improve it 100%, but it also doesn't change how much space it takes up in the same way. It just takes it up in a neater space, a neater arrangement. And so it's good to figure that out and know that you can make a lot of effort to organize it all, or you can not have to organize it because you've released it. So you can create the what you have to organize as a smaller pile, and in the meantime, declutter stuff that you're not using, so you don't have to organize it all. And that's a possibility too. Thanks.
Okay. Jill says, due to constant use, I need our laundry utility mudroom that holds the home repair equipment and tools,
Mm.
shoes, and dog feeding station to be more user friendly.
And these rooms are basically designed to hold stuff. The mud room, the utility room, the laundry room, they're designed to hold stuff. And they're constantly, consistently cluttered and overfull. So they're family spaces, but not public spaces. So they get used a lot, but not managed much. And you're the person that's going to 100% benefit from clearing this room. So it's more functional and less of a hassle. So that's a great project to tackle. And you are going to be the one that reaps the rewards of the work that you do. And I don't know what it is about laundry rooms that just feel like places we can kind of stuff things and then we wander around and struggle to get around all the things in the laundry room. It's like, yeah, you don't really need to have all that. And you don't need the laundry room to be an area that you have to like swim through or squeeze through or fight against to come and do the laundry.
Right.
It'll feel so much better when it's lighter and you only have what you need in there. So good to not think of it as a storage room.
Hmm.
Just, and get it down to its functions. The
Yeah.
dogs have to eat here. The kids have to come and take their wet shoes off, or they need to hang up their school bags, or I need to put the grocery bags up that I'm going to take out the next time I go to the groceries. And it they that the area serves a function about how the family is productive and doesn't track a bunch of stuff into the other parts of the house and makes you ready to leave the house when you're ready to go. But it doesn't need to be, it needs to serve those functions and not also be drowning in stuff on top of it. And so pare it down to what needs to be there to function and come and tell us how it went. I'd love to hear about it.
Jane says the garage will be my 2026 focus.
Ah.
Inside the house, I use one in, one out process. This won't work well in the garage. I think a good process may be to go through a box per month and to do an empty box declutter at least quarterly.
Mm-hmm.
My best success occurs when I set goals and calendar what's to be done.
So concentrate on the garage sooner rather than later. So you're done before it gets too hot, of course. Depending on where you live, that window can close late March
Hmm.
up to early June, depending on what part of the country you're in. Do your
My word.
calendaring based on when it will be pleasant out there to work. And as I read this, I was thinking that I think that's going to be my big project this year too. I managed to block all the chaos in the house during the move, but the garage was a big dumping place by the movers, and it drives me crazy every day when I pull into the garage and I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm like, ugh, and it's just super annoying. So I'm gonna get out there, and now I can do it before it gets too hot in the spring. So let's do it, Jane. Let's do the garage. Um, I I would have done it last year, but because my knees were so bad and I was doing all that rehab and I couldn't walk, I couldn't go out there and stand on the concrete and work. It was just impossible physically. Now I can be out there and work. I'm still, I'm still a little compromised, but I can be out there and doing stuff. And so I I have done little pieces of it over time, but I have not done the great reset that needs to be done in there. And so I need to do that. I think that's my project for, the first half of 2026. Because when it gets too hot in Houston, then you're out there. I'm not going to stand out there and, get dizzy from water loss while I'm out there. So I had to do that because I was finishing the garage in August before I moved, the August of 2024. I was out
Oof.
there like
Yeah.
finishing up and that was the most miserable day of the move I spent, literally. So, yeah, I'm not going to do that on the flip side. We're going to do it while the temperature's good. And let's do it, Jane. We'll do it together. I'll do the garage too. Let's get it done. Go,
Okay,
team,
we have
go.
time for just a few comments from the live audience. Terry says, I realized about 30 years ago that my clutter source was having more items than places. For example, 150 items and 100 places.
Mm.
Then I forgot that insight for 3 decades and likely went shopping.
That's funny.
JB says, I learned that progress looks a lot like things have suddenly gotten much worse. I follow an energy spurt till I give out or face an obstacle, then leave it where it lies for too long. Need to learn self-pacing or how to organize the organization or something.
Yeah, I mean that's a process of you, you if the project is always bigger than you have energy for one day or one afternoon, so you have to do it in pieces, and sometimes it feels like you should do the whole garage in one sitting, and I know that that's not realistic. Like there's too much to do out there, so I can do part of it and come back another day and do part of it, and so it's all about clumping it down to smaller pieces and finishing that piece before you move on to the next, and not trying to do it all in one sitting. So when you
Well,
get the burst of energy, make your target smaller.
yeah, and I'm really bad about this myself. We give this advice all the time.
Mm,
Allocate the 5 minutes or the 10 minutes, or depending on the size of the project, the hour that it's going to take to clean
mm.
up and put the project away. You
Yeah,
know,
make sure you have the
um,
energy for that part.
well, and gosh, since we were talking about garages a moment ago, the garage is a great example of where it can go terribly badly if you don't allocate the cleanup time. You pull everything out, you hose things down or go around with the broom, knocking down cobwebs and getting the dirt out.
Sweeping,
And then all your stuff is sitting out there on the driveway and you're exhausted.
right?
And so, you need to
Yeah.
plan your projects to include that cleanup time.
And not if you're doing it alone, do not expect that project to be something that you complete in one day.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
do
but even,
partial.
even a small project, if you've gotten an energy spurt for an hour's worth of work, it's really important that you not do an hour's worth of the primary task
Yeah, deconstruction.
and not leave that little reservoir of energy to put your tools away, to clean up the mess you made, to take trash to the bin and so forth.
Yeah, yeah, to put some stuff back out of the way before you're ready to come back to it again. Hey, Samudra has her hand up. Do you want to join us, Samudra?
Please, let me,
She's unmuting
I
herself.
have to ask her to unmute
Oh, okay,
herself, I guess.
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I've been cleaning out, I've been cleaning out 33 years worth of teaching, which has been sitting in a box here for the last 20 years.
Oh, that's a good one.
And some of it, I know I need to keep some of it, like my best ideas, but and I asked certain students for really good paper certain students produce really good papers that I want to keep.
Okay.
But and I want to keep my best assignments and but like I'm wondering about what I've been asking myself what I'm trying to keep the other things for. And some of them are just to impress my pet millennial, but I'm not really as stupid as she thinks boomers are, you know. And so I'm going to let go of that. But I'm wondering what to do with all my calendars. Multiples of assignments, no problem. But I have all these calendars from every year I taught, and it's like a stack that thick.
Right.
Any ideas?
So it's really just a keepsake, right?
It might have, I can't tell if it's a keepsake or if it's a reminder or if I'm keeping it to prove something to somebody.
Yeah, so you don't have to prove anything, honey. We know you're fabulous. You don't need to prove nothing to nobody, right?
You,
So, I mean, the truth is, what you know and remember about those calendars will not transfer to other people. Like they can read the calendars, but they won't be able to know exactly what that means 100%. So, somebody saying appointments on calendars for future books. Like if you're going to write a book, okay, maybe. But I think calendars is it like a day calendar?
it's like this assignment is due on this day, and we're going to have workshops
Oh,
on
oh,
this
oh, oh,
day,
yeah. Oh,
and this is
okay.
how the year is going to be structured, and here are the people we're reading.
Yeah, no, no. So those are keepsakes because they represent the work that you designed and the classes that you gave and the process that you lived, right? Like that was a whole
Right.
assignment process that then took you through a semester or whatever, a process, project, goal. And they were super important when you were doing them and you needed them, but it's just like a wedding plan for a wedding. Once the wedding has happened, the wedding plan is no longer useful to you. So if you think those assignments would be useful to a current teacher, you maybe could send them off. But if you think they're not relevant now, like because they're very specifically relevant to what you were teaching and what you were doing then.
Yeah, all they do is prove that I actually can function and do things on time and schedule
Okay.
things.
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, you're extrapolating a whole lot of messages from the calendar that you think are going to transfer with the calendar, but that's all happening in your head. That's not happening on the calendar.
Right.
So
maybe just keep 3 that I'm especially
keep a representative
Yeah.
sample. Exactly. And
Like
then,
the
take
first
the whole
one.
stack. Yeah, exactly. Because the truth is, you did it and you accomplished it. And whether other people are, if they're not seeing who you are, welcome to being a senior. Like everybody that's 40 years younger than us doesn't respect or understand what we did or do.
Right.
They're in the middle of doing their own thing and making their own stuff happen. And so, like,
The social justice warriors don't know how that you've been standing in demonstrations since 1965.
100%. 100%. And so, I mean, I think that this is where we have to be our own, we have to let our peers help us remember and support us. We have to be our own cheerleaders and be proud of ourselves for what we did, regardless of whether, all the people coming behind us recognize that and value that. It doesn't diminish what we did. And I think about this as the Clutter Fairy. When I retire and I'm not doing this all the time anymore, nobody's gonna be sitting around going, wow, the Clutter Fairy did all this stuff. Like, it won't matter when I'm retired. But right now I'm having a good time and I'm living in it and it's fabulous. And when I retire, I have to move on to something else and do something else. And, my family will remember that I had a podcast. It won't be super important to anybody else except me, right?
And we'll be getting $1.98 in ad revenue from YouTube till the end of time. $1.98 a month.
Right?
Right.
Ooh, fabulousness, right?
I have one other thing to say.
Okay.
My goal for 2025. So now you know how old I am. For 2025 was to be able to walk barefoot through my house without getting my feet dirty.
Yeah.
I did that. However, unfortunately, I still need to sweep the floors every other day.
That's the thing. Like, the floors don't sweep themselves, right? So
I hate how you clean up and then it doesn't stay cleaned up. It just disarranges itself again.
I know, right?
Dust never sleeps.
Dust is constantly floating, 100%. Yeah, that's the annoyance of maintenance, is that it never stops, right?
Thank you, Sumitra. We need to wrap it up. We're
about out of time, right?
We'll talk to you some more.
Thank you. Good you're here.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We need to talk about upcoming weeks.
Okay.
Let me find my place again. We will be back next week at the usual time. Our January 13th episode will explore the complex relationship between productivity and organization with a special guest, Karen Baker, productivity consultant, owner of Soho Productivity Solutions, and president of NAPO National for 2025 to 2027.
And my dear friend who is going to come and talk all about productivity for us, and she's quite the expert at it.
Karen, Gayle and I have both known Karen since she was just about a baby organizer, right?
Right. Yeah.
So join us next week for special guest Karen Baker on productivity and organization. And then quickly, I'll give you the rest of the upcoming schedule. January 20th, we're going to go to the next room in our room by room series, which will be the bathroom. And then we're going to take a week off on January 27th when Gayle is tackling a big client project. Finally, I'll remind you that on February 24th, we're going to have our first book club episode of 2026. And the book is New Order, a decluttering handbook for creative folks and everyone else by Faye Wolf.
And I got the book for Christmas. I asked for it for Christmas and I got it for Christmas. So I'm ready to read now.
Gayle, why don't you give us your final thought and then go straight to the tittle from there?
Okay. So here's my final thoughts today. I've said many times before that we are our own best cheerleaders. So this is the time of year to stop, contemplate what you move forward and can be proud of having accomplished, what you noticed and figured out about yourself and your relationship to your stuff, what decluttering techniques you found helpful and productive, and what you need to support you on your journey in a positive way. Taking an inventory of those ideas and techniques is how you learn and modify your organizing process so you're improving the experience for yourself. Think back to what it was like when you first started and how hard it was and how much smoother it's gotten since then. You are in control of how the process feels to you, and we want to support your goal of clearing up your space and feeling good in your home. So stay with us throughout 2026, learn, get support, and keep transforming your space to better support the life that you love. And based on that, the weekly tittle is set project priorities. This week's assignment is to review your project list to set key priorities for the start of 2026. Make a list of decluttering and organizing projects in your home that are already in the works or in the planning stages. And answer the following questions about each project on the list. Is this project still a high priority for me? Will this project move my home towards the goals that I've set? How much time and effort would it take to complete the project? And is there anything else that I need to do before I can start on or complete the project? You can assign a grade or a numerical score to each project on the list using any system that you like in order to set priorities or decide which one to do first. If you haven't already selected a major project for January, consider making the highest graded project on your list the focus of your efforts for the rest of this month. When you complete the project you selected on or about February 1, whichever comes first, revisit your list to select a new project or affirm your commitment to the current one. That'll get you started and rolling, get the ball rolling. Let's plan some projects, see what's out there to work on, grade them according to what's most important to you to get done first, and dive on in. And then come back here and we will be here to support you all the way. We can't wait to hear about it.
If you're watching this on YouTube, we'd love for you to join us live. To get notifications about our upcoming events, we invite you to join the meetup group by visiting cfhou.com/meetup. You can also follow us on Facebook by visiting cfhou.com/Facebook, or join our mailing list by visiting cfhou.com/subscribe. We'd love to hear from our audience, so please keep your questions, comments, and topic suggestions coming on YouTube, Facebook, or anywhere that you find us. You can always reach us through our website at clutterfairyhouston.com.
Welcome to 2026, people. We're at the beginning of our decluttering year. We are going to constantly be focusing on things to support you and help you along the way. Please come back and listen and ask your fellow listeners how to cope, and we will be providing solutions hopefully all year long. So we're here to help you, and we want to participate with you, and come and tell us all about it. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you guys.